Hey guys, this is Austin. Over the years, we've spent a lot of time trying to make our videos as crispy as possible, but this is a look at how we actually do that.
Whenever people ask me what I do for a living, the first thing I usually tell them is I work for a YouTuber, because I feel like in some cases people will just straight up say they're a YouTuber, but I don't think that necessarily describes what I do.
So this is a Red Epic W with the Fujinon 19 and 90 that we're currently renting, but we're probably gonna end up getting before the end of the year. So we mainly shoot Red,
we shoot Red because it makes Ken happy. That's why we shoot Red.
You know, I wasn't really brought up upon like kind of learning all of this stuff, so it is kind of a learn as we go sort of thing. But I think from when I started to now, I think we've gotten, you know, we covered a decent amount of ground, you know, figuring that stuff out. They're like, how can you handle a camera like that and not be scared? Like, that's what insurance is for. So
it's called not Ken's problem if he drops it. That's what it's called.
I think it's one thing to say I man the camera and I shoot the videos, but I think it goes a lot further than that. There's a lot of kind of little bits of directing that I have to do on part of the writing that you do and like the bullet points that you make for yourself.
Because the first part is about like what is a Bitcoin.
Right.
I think that a lot of that's going to be fairly straightforward up until the point where I'm actually explaining like how to use it. So at that point, I'll finish explaining what the blockchain is, and then I'll start talking about mining. So maybe that's a point where we set up the table and have like a couple PCs sitting there, so I can say like, oh look, these are what you would typically use, and I'll hit a little bit on like ASICs and that kind of stuff. So the fun part of today is that usually we would have, well, pretty much an entire day to actually shoot something like this. But because we have to shoot this, and we're shooting this BTS video that you guys are watching now, and then we have to shoot another video in like 2 hours, gotta keep moving. This is take 3 with Wes.
Yeah, so the first day I was here, it was just kind of out to see the space and to kind of say hi to everyone. Because yeah, I knew that Ken had gotten the job. He had come back to school being like, hey, I'm gonna graduate with a job, unlike the rest of you art majors. So over the next couple months, I started working with you guys to kind of refine the lighting setup a little bit, using just really what you already had, just to kind of refine everything and make it a little more polished.
Okay, so we've been recording for an hour and 45 minutes. Okay, so this is a little bit of a harder video. I think for me, it was difficult to actually explain Bitcoin well. It's kind of a complicated subject. So the next incredibly important part of any video is bringing the footage to Jimmy, where he will actually make it not terrible and cut out my hour and a half of mistakes. This is take 2 with Jimmy.
So when I was in college, I played a game called Crypt of the Necro Dancer. And I was like, I want to make a game review for this. So I did. And I used iMovie. And I recorded everything with the voice memos app on the iPhone, and it sounded so bad.
Hello, hi, I'm back. I have returned. We're gonna be talking about video games today instead of movies.
So then I was like, I switched to Premiere, I built my gaming PC, and that was really tough to use. It was like really slow and took like literally 6 hours to export sometimes. So I'd export a video and then go to class and then notice a mistake and be like, and then I would go back and re-export it all and just fix everything. And then I downloaded Final Cut over the next summer, and it was insanely fast.
Oh, hi. Start you a video.
Yay. Wes, you have the mag reader though.
Here's the SD card.
Awesome. Thank you, Wes. The first Q&A was kind of tough because I kind of had an idea of what your videos were, but the first Q&A was just totally different. And there was a lot of extra little things that went into that I had no idea about. And that was my first week, so I was like, oh, I don't know any of this. God dang it.
Yeah, well, granted, there's 2 minutes at the beginning you gotta keep in.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's a 6-minute Q&A, and Austin answered some really good questions. And you'll get a lot of Ken too, and even a little bit of me.
You know, between the 4 of us that are in this office, we all have very specific tasks, and usually we're, you know, zoned in on those, and we can't exactly, you know, be bothered, you know, doing the little things like taking out the trash.
So we have 3 cameras here. There's the first FS7, that's our A angle. We have another FS7, that's our B angle. And we have an FS5 that's sitting up from the ceiling, that's our C angle. Wes, who's actually manning the camera right now, has done awesome color work to make sure that all 3 cameras match.
So shooting log basically means that you're getting the most amount of range out of the camera possible. So you're getting all the stops of light, all the range of light that you can possibly get. And that's great because then that gives you a bunch of options in post, but it also allows you to basically just make the most cinematic looking images. And the benefit of shooting log and then just applying the LUTs that I made is we can get the benefit of log, getting all that range, all that nice color, and then by slapping a LUT on that I have from testing the cameras with the different lenses, it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get really quick color, and it's just one extra step in post. You just kind of slap it on, you're good to go.
Because we have so many videos to make and so little time to actually make them, a tool like Final Cut is a huge part of our workflow.
So it's like the only thing I've ever really used, so I'm just so used to it now that there's nothing I would really change. I really like that we were able to save the LUTs as presets, so I can just type in the camera name instead of going through our massive list of all the different LUTs we have. Like, this is so much faster and more convenient. I like that a lot.
What is one thing about your job you wish you could change?
Oh. I would have a 30th floor office and look down on everyone. You want the actual answer?